In 2026, AI-enabled GRCs everywhere, dashboards, co-pilots, controls, libraries, automated assessments. Yet, inside real organization, compliance still fails the same way it always has. Controls exist, but proof does not. That's missing layer in security proof loop. A closed loop where controls continuously produce evidence, evidence trigger action, action update risk posture, and the cycle reports repeats without human heroics. Today's leaders are under pressure from three forces at once: more regulations, more audits, more scrutiny, faster delivery cycles, and vendor sprawl. AI adoption increases both speed and risk. This conversation is about AI GRC from reporting layer into operational system that can answer the one question auditors, board, and customers care about. Can your prove your controls are working right now? Ratnesh is a leader who's been on the intersection of the controls and trust side. And let's bring Ratnesh to the podcast and dive into the topic. Hi, sir. Hi, Ratnesh, sir.
Hi
Welcome to our
Prem.
podcast, sir. How are you today?
I'm good.
Sir, a small intro about yourself to the audience, sir.
Yeah, so I'm coming from 20 plus years of experience of IT and cybersecurity as a virtual CISO. We are serving multiple fintech, healthcare customers for their GRC functions that include like TPRM, AI GRC, all the modules, and so we are like doing complete life cycle management for their data security. That includes your virtual DPO or virtual CISO. So that what experience I'm coming from.
Let's dive into the topic and let's understand why AI enabled GRC fails without security proof loop and how leaders fix it in the real world.
Yeah. So take example, even the organizations are using multiple AI use cases, right? We have GenAI, we have LLM models, where even like CISOs teams are not aware how many applications are in use, right? How many applications are in use as a GenAI or LLM applications. Take example, uh, like we have AWS Bedrock, right? That's consumed by different teams, and we have AWS SageMaker or go for Microsoft Copilots that will be used by mostly all the users, right? So considering anchoring the concept like GRC without proof is governance theater kind of, where we have the artifacts and how we are controlling what are the artifacts, the evidence how we are collecting, right? And considering knowing all the use cases, what application are in use for that customer or enterprises, right? That's a important point here to enable our GRC tool is okay, but how it is, controlling, capturing all the evidences, artifacts, so without like we'll say like AI enabled GRC will be kind of it's kind of paperwork without having proof or artifacts. Prem?
I get your point, sir. Coming to our next point, because we need to know the proofs are very, very important, right? Now, what security proof loop and what is a security proof loop? Because we've been talking about security proof loops and why is it missing layer in A-enabled GRC?
Yeah, so like we have a different adoption model, we have different lack of operating model, how the organization adopting the AI use cases, right? That's kind of a red flag list, considering all those, like understanding what tools they are using, the dashboarding they have, right? And the controls and the security like security controls what they already enabled, and the exceptions, exclusion list, blacklist, like blacklisting, deny listing, allowing listing, all those not integrated properly, and also missing security configuration, no cadence kind of, right, those things are as part of red flag actually, as part of.
So anything that is not monitored in a very clear way is what we are seeing as red flag, and
That's correct, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
we've
We
been
have.
using tools
Yeah.
which are enabled, but they are not giving the right kind of information that is needed. Is what I'm trying to get. If you had to define one line for a board, what would you say, sir?
Yeah, so like we have tools available for different different domain of the security, including GRC. So considering AI landscape is changing like anything, Prem, right? So we are talking about GNAI, then we have LLMs, and today we are talking about agentic AI, right? Where we have complicated structure, complicated architecture of our AI applications, and we have MCP based applications where we are using for our agentic AI. So considering all those things, like so for having complete idea about the environment, what kind of applications are in use, and what in-house applications are using, and what kind of, even the vendors, right? We have third-party vendors or suppliers where we are claiming like we have AI enabled TPRM kind of third-party risk and management, right? But actually, those things should be uh, completely evidence-based control, artifact based, and we have some proof, and there should be proper monitoring, and it should be giving the right data to the CISO's team internally for the enterprises to make some decisions on those things for internal consumption actually. Yeah.
So coming to that point, when you say internal controls, what are the three minimum components? Control, telemetry, evidence, action, ownership that will make it real. Which are the three components, minimum components that they are required?
Yeah, so like those components will be like they have proper access management control, like ABAC or back access enabled, and also accessing like privileged kind of privileged accesses. They enterprises are using some PAM solution, and they have enabled uh, controlling all those access levels from RBAC, ABAC, and also considering the complete monitoring. So they have complete monitoring of those event, and also the data security is very important actually. So like take example, we have some DSPM solution, we have DAM, or how the data getting ingested, are we getting all the data within our SOC consumption actually, take example, right? So it's like fulfillment for the complete end-to-end cyber security solution for any enterprises, right? So that will also include the AI applications logs, MCP, agentic AI logs, what's going on, so I think in that way those pointers will be helpful in that those scenarios.
What we are saying is GRC without proof is a governance theater. Proof, continuous evidence, decisions plus remediation, revalidation make it tangible. So you are trying to say is what we get is a control, signal, evidence, exception, and fix. Retest is what we are saying, right? So AI enabled GRC without proof is just a perimeter paperwork, is what I am trying to get from what you're saying. Now, why do AI enabled GRC programs fail even when tools are deployed? Because today we see a lot of tools coming in, but are they giving the right information or the right required protection that we need, is what we want to understand from you, sir.
Yeah, so like we have tools for we have like within the GRC we have AI enabled tools, we have TPRM tools, right? And the what the data we are getting as monitoring tool, or with the data like evidence collection, or what is the correlation between these those data, and how we can making that meaningful data and making decision to you know applying some related security controls to make like and also we have to think about the cost optimization in respect to CISO's budget, tight budget actually, and what we are going to get the benefit as a ROI by by using all those things. And so the workflow management actually, the important part is like how we can automate those things, and the workflow management as part of to get the outcome related with those evidences, and we can make sure that what we are getting validation is also important. Along with that, what evidences we are getting, who is going to validate, are we going to completely rely on the complete AI tool or AI GRC, or we should have some mechanism to the validate all those things. I think in that way we can make accountability fix for our internal team, and to make ROI and based GRC functions within our enterprises.
Okay. So, what is the most common root cause for poor implementation, low adoption, or lack of operational models?
Yeah, so it all depend upon so how this is configured. So considering take example, we have fintech customers, right? So fintech customers coming, they have lot of PI data, right? Take example, fintech customers or healthcare customer where a lot of PI data is available. Take example, PAN card, Aadhaar card, or those kind of PI data. We have mobile numbers. So considering so how the those PI data, sensitive data, are we doing data masking for our critical data? Take example, for fintech we have credit card, we have different financial uh, transactions. Are we doing properly data masking? And considering DPDP is already rolled out in India by government of India, as just to compare with GDPR, right? So considering the consent management is still we have time, but that is also important to the users, end users data or customers data, how the security of all those data. And also I'm coming again, understanding of the how many AI applications in use in enterprise, like finance team, what AI applications they are using, right? We have accounting team, we have HR functions, and then we are going to with our technical cyber security team, our cloud team. So considering all those factors, actually we have to decide how best monitoring or GRC enablement we can do for our organization. Prem?
So, what we are saying is we need to look at different organization or different departments, not organizations. What are the AI tools that they are using? How are they integrated, right? So, how do we look at integrating all of them is what we are saying, and also look at different dashboards, right, which are there from each department which is looking for some kind of a data, right? So what is your red flag list that tells you your program will fail within 6 months? Is there anything that we can look at that way of prediction, sir?
Yeah, so like the tools, like the tools what we are using actually, with the tools we are getting dashboarding, we have reporting, we have security score as well, right? And we are getting uh, so the red flag items will be like just we are considering tools as a dashboarding for our security scoring, right? And there is a no ownership of controls, that's also a red flag item will be there. And the evidences are not properly mapped, actually not correlated. And if any exceptions are there, that is poorly managed actually, as part of that will be another red flag item will be there, right? And integration, so because within the GRC itself we have multiple tools, multiple functions domain within the cyber security area, where there will be integration. So those integrations also missing as part of we can highlight as a red flag. And no cadence. Yeah.
I think what you are saying is systems failures could be at many junctures, is what we are saying, because each department has dashboards which are configured. The tool sets are different. If the data is not getting updated with the right information, and we get into a false way of information, that could be one of the red flag, right? And you
Right.
rightly said, is if there is no ownership for who's going to take care if there is an issue, and fixing them also is going to be evidence getting not mapped also to the right stakeholder, is one more gap that we see. Exceptions or expectations not managed or unmanaged is another challenge that we see. And integrations missing, that is another challenge that we see. If there is an integration that is needed from one department to another department where they have to fetch data and that is failing, that also could be one of the reason, is what you're saying. No cadence, because ownership is not there, you don't have cadence also. That's the way that I think most GRC tools don't fail technically, they fail operationally, because the integrations and other things go up, is what I feel, is what you're saying. What or which control types are the hardest to prove continuously? Access, change, logging, vendor backups, or IR?
Yeah, so we have already controls exist, but that is not enough, right? To so because uh, there should be, evidences should be complete, and that should be on time, right? And uh, like let's take example. Are we doing proper regularly review of all those controls, right? Are we are going quarterly review, monthly review? I think those things will be also part of our journey as part of it. And also if any, if we are making any exceptions, so those exceptions should be reviewed in between, right? So there should be proper review of all those exceptions to making, if any new changes are coming, so that can be modified according to our enterprise's requirement. I think that is also important. So audits are not failing on controls. So I will say they fail on evidence to as one as a layman actually. So they're failing on evidences actually.
Evidence not getting mapped is one big thing. The logging is again evidence proof, is what we are saying. So if the logs are not properly maintained, that is evidence again. Vendors vendors systems integration, the challenges that are there, the risks that are there when we bring in new vendors, that is another challenge that we see when we don't have the continuous uh, proof management or integration of those documents kept. So, what is the simple example of a control that exists but produces weak evidence?
Yeah. So take example. So like we have enabled backups. Do we have as part of cyber resilience, right? So are we taking care of data? Uh, uh, are like so we are taking off data security part of it as a cyber resilience. We have backup. Take example. I will take an example like organizations like take example of Microsoft or Google. They are coming with the collaboration tools like O365, right? And Google is coming with their Google Workspace. But if you go with their EULA licenses, consider their documentation, they will be saying we are not responsible for backing of your data of your email, if your OneDrive, right? Considering those things, customers should be aware about those things. So lack of awareness is also there. Considering is this will be managed by the OEM itself, or it will be taken care by the like customer's responsibility, right? Considering the cloud, O365 and all those use cases. So it's the data security will be falling under customers, right? So we have as a cyber resilience as part of backup, we should go with some, we have many tools have level many, for backing up the data and all those things as a cloud to cloud backup. Coming to second part, the IR, incident response, right? So as considering how this is configured as part of your same and so solution, and how it is helping your audit team or GRC team AI enabled, because the SOC L1 and L2 or L3 are playing very important role to make uh, so for making their threat hunting day to day, and also a lot of uh, 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 they are also playing around with all those their IR responses. So considering all the evidences related with your weak like the control is not properly configured. Is it following the frameworks what we are talking about, NIST, GDPR, or cloud security alliances, or any many other security frameworks that should be in line with those things. Prem?
So what we are saying is it isn't enough. Evidence is to be complete, timely, and it has to be looking at are used, because that is where we can prove that is use. Access review can be done. So one of the way of this one is access reviews. Now, if you have access reviews done, I think we will not have dormant accounts being there in the system. That is one way of can. And if the accounts review happens, we don't have the people who left the organization ha- having some kind of a access to the system, because we are removing those kind of accesses. And coming to that service accounts, if there is tagged to somebody who's left, and we are failing because that service account is not active and there is a failure that is happening, that also could be one of the controls that we are seeing on paper, but it is not existing. No proof of a review on those call it. And the exception follow-ups is very important, is what you're saying. Audits don't fail on the controls, they fail over the evidence, is what we are saying. And now how do we've looked at most of the time is, even today if you really look at, we've not come out of those Excel data that we have been managing. Most of the data which we are seeing is on Excel. How does Excel compliance break security proof in modern GRC?
Yeah. So that's why a lot of tools coming from AI enabled GRC or TPRM, and claim is like forget your Excel, come to the tool and do your complete GRC function, AI enabled GRC. So actually, to be very honest, because we need automation, right? We need automation, and manual effort should be minimized as part of, because a lot of human error possible as part of Excel. We are maintaining risk register, and then we have TPRM solution, access reviews, or incident logs if we are doing Exceling kind of spreadsheet kind of thing, right? So that should going to uh, going to kill integrity of like kind of no immutable trails available, logs available. If any, we are even the versioning problem is also there, right? So which version got reviewed last quarter kind of thing. And also a lot of human error, copy paste, those possible, right? We are the LLM models, actually we are human being, correct? We being, so we can we can think of making those things as part of workflow by controlling RBAC and logging, and finally the evidence capturing. I think that will be the uh, I think many things already there, and we are seeing maturity, yearly maturity are coming as part of moving from a spreadsheet and coming to the tooling and making our things, GRC functions people life easy, actually, right?
So I think what we are seeing is Excel is slowly going to die out, and the tools are going to take up with the data, because what you're saying is the versioning part. So now, where do spreadsheet typically show up? Risk register, vendor tracking, access reviews, and incident logs. So where do you feel these are showing up there, sir?
Yeah. So like, so those things, as it as part of your AI enabled tools, you will be seeing all those things you are getting as part of as part of your tool. And you can manage your, and you can keep tracking of your all controls, all the your by annually, twice we are doing any GRC audits and audit reports. So we have data available, and we can easily walk through with that data. We can review all those data. So those kind of things we can do once, like, so Excel is like, silent breach surface for the offer modern compliance. But still we have those use cases. Take example once, I will take only a real example once, because we are integrate we were engaged with one of the customers where we were doing threat modeling, and even we are using Excel sheet, to be very honest, data coming from the tool, but still we are coming to the Excel, and manually we are reviewing all those things, because we are not completely, blindly uh, relying on the tools, getting the data tools. Let's get it validated with our vast top 10 best practices, and let's have, our developers, our DevOps pipeline team live, easy, and like shift left kind of thing we can follow. Even we are doing actually for threat modeling, Prem.
What we are seeing is there is a shift from the Excel sheets. They are tools that support data upload today in bulk, and that data can be into kind of a, not a spreadsheet, but you can have a text based update is what I understand now. Incident logs can be also downloaded as a document and uploaded is what I understand. What we are saying is spreadsheet skill integrity, but they cannot give us which is the latest version, and if multiple teams are using them, we don't know which one was the last update and which is overridden. Also there are hidden risks is what we see. And this is more to look at even the versioning control that you said, right? Controlling of which version is getting uploaded also becomes a challenge. Now there are two things that we should look at. One is who's updated the last, whether that was the version controlled. Now if it is not controlled, what was the updated latest version, and how do we validate that becomes a challenge. What's the first workflow you would move out of Excel to reduce the risk fastest, sir?
Yeah, so again, I think we have to go with the balancing act actually. So everything should not be, coming from the tools automated way. Take example, if we are analyzing the risk appetite, right? Risk appetite, or the risk uh, uh, the risk categories we have, right, and level of the risk we have, and also, like, can we accept those risks, or we, considering the priority or severity of those risks. And also the legal documentation, talk about NSA, we have MSA, we have like a lot of document, right? So we cannot completely rely on the tools. Those documents should be reviewed by our legal finance team, who is accountable for all those. And also the incident, like, breach documentation, or any security incident related documentation, and decision taking decision, all those things. And also the regulated enterprises, take example of fintechs, right? There is a CB, there is a RBI, and there are proper SLA defined. If any breach is happening, there you should inform SEBI 24 hours, 72 hours. And failing all those scenario, I think we can't say our tool has not reported all those things, right? Getting my point? So I think it should be the balance act between where your human intervention is required, human intelligence is required, and where we have like data ingestion, getting the rows, columns, also those data. I think Excel can replace all those things, but humanizing and playing around with those, all those what we already discussed, the risk appetite and all those things, those should be part of our, the human intelligence. Yeah.
Got it, sir. What we are looking at, we should not have that copy paste propaganda propagation done. So that is a challenge. This is the first or the fix of workflow plus RBAC plus logging and evidence capture is what we are looking at. And Excel is a silent breach surface for modern compliance. That you told, which is very crucial at the moment now. What should AI automate first, GRC, and what must never be automated also?
Yeah, so this is like, not one liner question, because a lot of things are involved in as part of, the automation. And safe automation, we generally use terms like safe automation, right? So the log connection, like log collection, getting the security events, all those things we can automate, right? We can go for automation. And first automation, like getting all the security events and making sure that we are not getting the performance data to increase our billing, the EPS, the GB, we are ingesting the data considering. So again, I think uh, balance act should be there, right? So uh, AI will be doing your machine learning capabilities, the all those things, but accountability should be lying with someone, like take example CISO, or we have DPO or CIO. All those things will be part of, right? And also we have to make so AI is doing so we are calling, is AI, or is AI ethical, or it's doing whatever any privacy breach should not be the part of it. So we can automate the evidences, artifacts, log ingestion, and all those things, right? But we cannot automate accountability, what is coming from different stakeholders as part of journey. Prem?
See, first point is that we have to automate some. IR is one thing that you said, incident response, because when we look at IR, we see a lot of false positives coming in, and that is with the current environments and the scale of environments that we have today, we cannot humanly look at every incident that is hitting as to be monitored, reviewed, and also looked at whether it is a alarm or it's a false alarm is what we should look at. And these are very important points is what we say when we look at automation. Then we can look at automation of the mundane jobs that are there. So if there is an knowledge base that is there, and if a mail comes in and if it refers to it, and the AI system can trigger out and say, this is what we have in our database. If you want to have another call, we can get our level 2, level 3 people coming in and talking to you, is what one way of looking at automation. Reporting can be automated based on the star resource or the stakeholders who wants to have certain data, because every stakeholder requires different data. Talk about a manager looks at a different data set, a senior manager or a director looks at data in a different way, whereas the board looks at different dashboards and reports that are required. So you can automate those data to be populated to the dashboards. That is one way of looking automation can be looked at. And also look at evidence collection. That could be automation. What are the parameters that has to be looked at? What way of looking at evidences? So now, what are the safe automations like evidence collection, correlation exception routing that deliver ROI fast?
Yeah. So like we already discussed the safe automation kind of, right? So we have where we have log ingestion, right? We are doing security log ingestion, and also playing around with the threat hunting mechanism, TTPs, part of our blue teaming or red teaming, right? So like take example playbooks, right? We generally our SOC consumption, there is a same and source solution, we have playbooks. So we are, like you highlighted, false positive, right? So we are knowing that the false positive, we analyze that just to make optimum utilization of our SOC resources. So let's have playbook creation where we have safe like automation, and once any false positive, it will be treated as a false positive because we have already evidences. And similar kind of trend is going on for any endpoints, for any XDR or ADR solution. I think those things, those are very, those things will be coming as a safe automation kind of, where we have proper, correlation is already there. We are knowing that those are the false positive, and that will giving us ROI in our on our investment as part of our, of solution of GRC or any SIM or source solution thing.
So next point that I want to understand is, what are the never automated zones? Say, can we take as acceptance is where we cannot do an automation. That's one thing that I understand. Legal interpretations, breach disclosure decisions. So these three things is what I understand. So what is your take on never automate, sir?
Yeah, I think we some part of it already we covered earlier also. So considering we are signing NDA from B2B business, right? We are signing MSA for client delivery of security services. We have MSA, we have NDA, and we are signing EULA licenses, right? End user license agreements and the tool licensing. So considering all those things, because we are going to sign agreement with between the parties, B2B business, where our EULA licenses, our MSAs, our legal documents should be reviewed manually. It should not be automated. So that's a one pointer. Second pointer is like where we have breaches, right? And every breach has its own story, own the life, how it got, what was the who was the attacker, what are the victims, who were the victims, kind of. So those things should be done through human intelligence. If we are going to automate everything, all those aspects, I think we are going to get big penalty as part of our use cases, and that will not increase our ROI, that will increase our TCO, total cost of ownership. Prem sir.
I'm getting to the point where we are saying today we are playing with a double-edged sword, because one way of looking at is we need to get the compliances ready. If the compliances are ready and we are not able to look at containing the breach that is happening and have the right compliance for documents and the procedures, we are looking at hefty fines, because that is the way that data is becoming so critical today. And with the DPDP coming in India with the set of rules and stuff, we are seeing a lot of challenges where organizations has to speed up their GRC decks, and the way they handle GRC for a compliance role becomes very difficult is what I say. They AI boosts throughput, but accountability stays with the human, because when we look at bringing tools, we can implement the tools, the accountability still stays with us, right? AI
Yeah.
should reduce manual trial but improve detection of drift, because as we spoke about the false positives, I can put a system where I can look at so many IRs coming in. So but how do we look at those incidents are true incidents or false positives? They should not be drifting. So not replacing responsibility, we have to take the responsibility of the tool getting configured in such a way that detect the right evidences or the incidents. Automation evidence does not automate accountability. As you rightly said, we cannot do an automate accountability pointer. How do you design control applicability so teams don't drown in noise? Ratan sir?
Yeah. So like we have already the risk assessment, or we are doing risk assessment base within the our control system or control reviews, right? How it get it tied with your risk based control selection, and where what are the critical data we have within our DevOps pipeline or within our company enterprises organization, the data coming from the endpoints or data coming from email or data coming from different sources like vendors. So the how our the vendor onboarding a little bit discussed, right? So vendor background verifications, and also getting what kind of the vendors and their data, and how as a customer or client their data, how those are critical pieces for, right? And also getting understanding on the business critical applications, right? And I think those things uh, like having lesser controls, and like and also having evidences and artifacts, I think that will take care of the the good security posture for any organization.
But what we see today is everybody looks at the customer's organization posture, because security posture is measured from website to the kind of certificates that you are using, the kind of data that you are putting, and how is it getting tracked. Is now cloud services also give you a dashboard of their security posture that you are in, right? So what kind of systems are patched, what how many numbers are patched, what is their update last update cycle that they followed, when was the restart last done, is it the critical patch, only the application log patching. So that kind of dashboard really gives you a picture of the security posture of any organization today. Now how do you separate the what is that truly in scope and what is a checkbox heavy load that we have?
Yeah, so that will come under when we are defining our controls, like suppose any fintech industry, right? Enterprises, they have PCI DSS, right? So what are controls? Within the PCI DSS, their condition is like it's under coming SEBI, it's coming under RBI. It's a credit card company. They are doing fund management, mutual funds. So, considering the business line, what kind of controls will be applicable for that X enterprises, right? So, those things should be, uh, drilled down, and having, only necessary control should be enabled as part of. Just example, I have taken PCI DSS. Take example of NIST or CIS benchmark, or we have ISO 27000 kind of, so we have to consider what kind of controls is applicable for as law. Take example, identity and access management, right? So the identity controls, what kind of IDP we are as a customer we are using, right? So what kind of network controls is part of it, that thing. Then we have compute layer. So considering all the defense in depth, and the scoring what the cloud security, and we are getting as a CSPM solution, cloud security posture management. They're doing calculations of scoring, like total healthy resources in sense of cyber security healthiness we are talking about, and total resources, the percentage we are calculating actually, right? And they're giving us like as you already highlighted, the patch is missing from this EC2 instance or virtual machine or some SASE applications. Encryption is not enabled, like S3 bucket kind of thing, right? So I think those things will be in line, and considering it is applicable for our enterprises where we have hybrid identity, hybrid network, zero trust, jet DNA, zero trust is a part of these security life cycle, to making sure that I think those criterias will be part of how you are going to define, checkbox heavy, or you are going to truly defining in scope controls. Prem sir?
Sir, one last question as we are looking at the time we are having. So, what is your or how many controls you really need, and what could be the benchmark? Do we see any pointer that we can say that what is how many controls do we really need when you want to look at GRC?
Yeah. So just can you repeat your question once again? I think some voice issue was there, Prem, sir.
So, how many controls do we really need is what I want to understand, sir.
Yeah. So take example, NIST RMF, the AI enabled one. There are 300 plus controls, right? But R as a customer, R we have all the controls applicable. We are manufacturing, we are fintech, we are healthcare. So we have to understand that what are the use cases related with our AI. How many controls of out of 300 will be applicable for us, like 200, 100, 150. It all depends on the verticals, the horizontal or vertical industries, where what all number of controls is applicable for the that specific entity or unit. Prem?
What we are saying is the risk is based on a control selection, focus on critical data flows, look at some of the crown jewels. If you really look at what are most important stuff, and what is the business critical applications that we should be looking, business applications or processes that we are. Fewer controls, stronger proof beats controls with weak proof is what we are saying. And more controls doesn't mean less risk, right? So that you have 100 risk, as you rightly said, you have 100 controls, you don't need to have all the 100. uh, so less, what we say is more controls doesn't mean less risk, but better proof does, is what we want to look at. And with that, I think we are on top of the hour for today, and I would like to summarize on the pointers that we have been discussing in the last 40-45 minutes that we did our podcast today. AI enabled GRC fails when it becomes a reporting layer instead of an operational system. So that's the first point that we reviewed. And security proof loop closes the gap. So you have a control, then you look at the action that is taken, and you find out the gaps again. So when you find the gaps and you do a revalidation, you fix them also, then you either fix them or say this is an acceptable risk that we can take, is what we said. And coming to the next point that we want to look at, evidence quality is fresh attributes complete or refresh the attributes completely. So beats the giant control library with weak proof. So you need to look at getting strong evidence is what we want to look at. Also, we spoke about some of the Excel based issues that we have been facing with the AI based tools. Like Excel based compliance quietly destroys integrity and audit readiness, because if you use the old version while we are doing the implementation, while we do the audit we use another version, the reports or the evidences don't match. So that becomes a problem. This move from workflows into controlled system is what we are looking at, is what we wanted to look at. Continuous compliance is also scalable. Future control, strong proof, faster execution to closure is what we have spoken over the last 45 minutes. This is this one, sir. Any final pointers that you want to add, part of what is the system that we want to say when we say why AI enabled GRC fails without security proof loops? The final pointer to you, sir.
Yeah, so like considering the DPDP is already in the pipeline, and we have other security frameworks. I think uh, uh, the tooling and the human intelligence along with that, and also going with the workflow management, the automation, and doing validation, security checks, proper controls, what is applicable for that industry or that organization, that is very important. And doing be compliant, and also considering the AI use cases, understanding the complex like the impact of those AI use cases, how it can be enabled. Even like take example chat gpt. So many organizations are allowing to use chat gpt in their organization, right? So do we have proper DLP enablement to making sure that someone cannot upload confidential documents, data coming from the enterprise to the chat gpt, and also someone downloading or getting the data from the chat gpt, it's not 100% correct. And always the data security solution, I think that will give the the overall picture to the security, including our GRC and complete security stack, Prem.
So thank you for that, sir. And what we are saying, this conversation lands to a powerful truth that AI can accelerate GRC, but only security proofs turn into governance with a real world trust that we want to bring in. For every leader who's watching, one question we ask this week is, if I need proof in 60 minutes, could my organization produce it confidently? Is what we are asking. And if not, don't buy dashboards, build the loop evidence, ownership exceptions, and cadence. That's the way that you should look at. Now, if you want to look at more understanding, please let us know. We would be happy to help you in understanding how this is, the cadence is being taken, or we can do a kind of assessment that we want to look at based on the GRC AI 10 enable for you is what we are talking about. And with this, I think we are on top of the hour. And thank you for joining us, sir. And with this, we would like to conclude the session for today. And we'll come back to you on another episode coming week. Thank you for joining, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Prem. Thank you so much. Take care. Yeah, bye.